We next consider a judgment given by the Supreme Court on the question of arrest under the SC/ST Prevention of Atrocities Act of 1989. This judgment was rendered in the case of Dr. Subhas Kasinath Mahajan versus State of Maharashtra in March 2018. Certain directions were given by the Supreme Court in this judgment. These were the observations. In view of the acknowledged abuse of law of arrest in cases under the Atrocities Act, arrest of a public servant can only be made after approval of the appointing authority, and arrest of a non-public servant can be made after approval is given by the senior superintendent of police. First of all, the Supreme Court makes an observation that there is an acknowledged abuse of the law of arrest in cases under the Atrocities Act. And since there is an acknowledged abuse of the law of arrest, certain guidelines, certain protections, certain directions are required, and this is the most important direction given by the Supreme Court in this case. It is this: arrest of a public servant can only be made after approval of the appointing authority, and arrest of a non-public servant can be made only after approval is given by the SSP concerned. To avoid false implication of an innocent, a preliminary inquiry may be conducted by the Deputy Superintendent of Police to find out whether the allegations make out a case under the Atrocities Act and that the allegations are not frivolous or motivated. This was the second important direction given in this case. There was a public agitation against this judgment, and consequently, within a few months, the Parliament made an amendment to the SC/ST Act in August 2018, and the directions given by the Supreme Court were reversed through this amendment. The amendment provided that the investigating officer shall not require approval for the arrest. The Supreme Court's direction was to the effect that if the investigating officer wants to make an arrest, then he should seek the approval of the SSP in case of non-public servants. The amendment to the SC/ST Act carried out in August 2018 says that the investigating officer shall not require approval for the arrest, if necessary, of any person against whom an accusation of having committed an offence under this Act has been made, and no procedure other than that provided under this Act or the Code shall apply. So through this amendment, the effect of the Supreme Court judgment in Subhas Kasinath Mahajan was nullified.